James Kaufman, World News Report today, March 30th, 2025. God bless you and yours, no matter where you are in the world. Please subscribe, give us a thumbs up, ring that bell for critical future updates. Ladies and gentlemen, we continue to see a seismic uptick, most probably because of the plates being charged by our sun for the last several days. We've had a 7.0 earthquake, and this is going to be just southeast of Tonga. It's going to really be part of Zealandia rising, which is the 8th continent rising out of the ocean. And we will briefly go over that in just 1 second. There was an associated tsunami warning here. They say it was at 29 kilometers of depth. It could have been. We have again an 8 on the DYFI, a 7 on the shake map, and an associated tsunami warning. Now, this is not the only quake we've had in this area. Zooming into that plate tectonic boundary that's still forming here in red, we see that we've had 9 quakes, if we include this one here, in the last 24 hours. The 7.0 being the largest, followed by a 6.1, just right on top of it, as you can see. Now, what else is happening around the globe? Well, we've had 3 Cascadia Subduction Zone quakes. Now, most of you know what the Cascadia Subduction Zone is. It's where we have our Juan de Fuca plate here being pushed under our North American plate here by the big Pacific plate that's moving towards the east. And we've seen 3 smaller to medium quakes in this area, a 2.7 default depth, a 2.7 a default depth, and a 3.4 default depth. So they don't know exactly how deep these are. They are reporting them. Again, it's all part of the Cascadia Subduction Zone. That's the Juan de Fuca plate here being pushed under or subsiding under the North American plate, which happens to push magma towards the top. And these are volcanoes here where you see activity here. No doubt magma in the volcano is moving because of the movement of the Juan de Fuca under the North American plate, again being pushed by the larger Pacific plate here. Now, first we'll go over Zealandia, the 8th continent rising out of the ocean here. Everyone's got their own opinions as to exactly where the boundaries or edges will be, but this is a pretty strong plate boundary we're seeing our activity on, and it's also filled with volcanoes, as we will soon see. Again, Zealandia rising right here, and we're seeing that quake swarm right here. Now, this is the other area we talked about, the Cascadia Subduction Zone, where we have our Juan de Fuca plate being pushed under or subsiding under our North American plate here. And the Cascades and the Olympic Mountains are mountain ranges, but they're also volcanoes. You can see the magma being pushed up into the Cascades, which include mountains like Mount Rainier, Mount Adams, Mount St. Helens, Mount Hood, and many others. Very active volcanic region due to this mechanism here. You can see the Pacific plate over here is the one doing the pushing that Juan de Fuca plate under the North American plate. Now we're seeing a lot more quakes in this area here, and we're also seeing that, of course, there's going to be a volcano right here. We'll see if we can get them off for just a second. You can see that right under these large quakes here, there is an active volcano right here. Now, I'll turn the quakes off so you can see what the name of that is Tonga itself. So we've dealt with this volcano several times in the past. We have a lot of volcanic activity in and around Zealandia rising, and this is a hard plate boundary here. Now, this is the 7.0. As y'all saw, that there were a bunch more going all through New Zealand here, and, well, really all around Zealandia. There's a lot of movement. All around most of Indonesia and still in Thailand and Burma, where we had such large quakes yesterday. Look at that swarm that's ongoing up there. Look at that. That's all going to be smaller quakes. But all four somethings are smaller, but there's quite a few of them. So back to the big boy of the day. Get some additional information here. It says a 7.0. USGS is the main source. Tonga volcano. Raspberry Shake came in at a 6.6, and the Germans came in at a 7.0. Let's get some detailed information on that right now. So we have a major 7.0 earthquake. We're over at volcanodiscovery.com currently. Looking at our earthquake details, we have the USGS as our primary source, a 7.0, a depth of 29 kilometers, which could be reasonable considering that's a plate that's rising, and 29.8 atomic bombs worth of energy were released by that 7.0. Most people don't realize the difference between a 7.0 and a 7.1. The 7.1 is 10 times stronger than the 7.0. Remember that. Comparing that 7.0 with all the different reporting agencies, starting out with the USGS 7.0, 29 kilometers. Raspberry Shake came in at 6.6. They usually follow the USGS. I don't know if the USGS didn't upgrade or what occurred here. We have the Germans coming in at 7.03. They've started using a second decimal. We have the Incorporated Research Institution for Seismology coming in at 7.0, 29 kilometers of depth. We have Australia coming in at 7.02, also going to a more advanced system using 2 decimal points. Then they have it at 43 kilometers in depth. We have the French coming in at 6.69, and they have it at a default depth of 10 kilometers. We have the Italians coming in at 6.9 at 15 kilometers. And we're looking at a 7.1 from the Europeans. I believe that's the highest one, default depth, 10 kilometers. So we saw a 7.02, a bunch of 7s, a 7.03, a 7.1, a fairly strong quake, ladies and gentlemen. Since we did have a tsunami warning, I did check all the buoys in the area here. The quake swarm occurred right about here. We're also having a quake swarm over in Burma here. And I don't see any buoys in event mode in either place. And I don't see any buoys in event mode from those, well, not so strong earthquakes associated with the Cascadia Subduction zone that we discussed. So what are the big takeaways from this? Well, we're having a huge swarm right up here under a volcano that's active. Obviously, magma is moving around. Zealandia is awakening and actually rising. We also continue to see action over in Burma, a ton of 4.0s, and we have 3 earthquakes associated with the Cascadia Subduction zone. None of them are huge, the largest being a 3.4 magnitude. All right, folks. Keep alert. I expect more seismic activity throughout the day and into tomorrow. We've had plenty of solar winds and plasma hitting Earth for several days now, and I believe that these plates are charged and ready to move. Please share, subscribe, and always remember, anything's possible in Bizarro World.